Good morning and welcome to Purgatory. Today we will be discussing the Shiver Shakes and what they entail, or at least what I can remember to say. I did make notes, but I had them up here and it was distracting me and I kept forgetting what I was saying. It's also the same thing with like poems and things I write. I remember them, but I need the paper there as a clutch, but in doing so it fucks with me because I keep looking at it even though I don't need to, and then I start tripping up on the words. But I'll keep it there when I do a poem to glance at and not look at, just to do it for my memory, but it takes a little bit. I doubt myself apparently. I just fucking read it, you remember it. But I need that as a crutch. But I tried to do that with notes here. And it wasn't working out for me, so we're gonna do without notes. But sorry, it's actually afternoon. So good afternoon. I just like saying good morning, so that's why I say good morning. But gonna discuss the Shiver Shakes and everything that goes along with the Shiver Shakes. And the Shiver Shakes are what I call the partial seizures I get, that are called focal sensory seizures, or also known as simple partial seizures. They were called one, and they apparently didn't like that name and changed it to another one. So at least that's what I read. I don't know. Could have been bullshit. We're going to go with focal sensory seizures. It's easier to say than simple partial seizures. But we're just going to call them Shiver Shakes because it sounds better. It may sound weird, but I don't like it. I'm tired of saying seizures because people look at you funny. But I mean, they're going to look at you funny when you say Shiver Shakes. And I can explain it or not, whatever. But yeah, so I never had these things. I never had this. It started in December 2019. Yeah, December 2019. I got it on camera. My ex-husband was videotaping it and making fun of me. I had a slight chill, like a year or two prior when I was married. I had a slight chill that felt worse than a normal chill when I was getting into bed one night and I was all bundled up. I was like, oh, that was weird. And I said something to him and he just told me to shut up, basically. But let's fast forward. Yeah, there was no doubt in my mind what this was, because this was so much more than that. And the first one was in December 2019, a week before Christmas Eve. If you'd watched The Straw That Broke the Camel's Back, you'll understand what it was that triggered it, apparently. Not the worst thing that happened to me, by far, but it just was the straw that broke the camel's back, and this was the result. Shiver Shakes. So I had the one in December 2019, a few months after that incident, straw that broke the camel's back. I hadn't smoked weed in like 2 years. May have been why it felt a lot worse, or not. I mean, at the time I thought that, but I was realizing now that's not it at all. Because I can be perfectly sober and have the same experience. But I was stressing out with the whole work situation, and hit up my ex-husband to smoke with me because we were divorced, but probably not healthy to hang out with him. But I didn't have anybody else to hang out with that I trusted. Not that I really trusted him. It's just while we were divorced, things were better. I guess he didn't view me as property. But I didn't have anybody to get blood from, so I hit him up to deal with the stress of what I was dealing with and not being able to sleep. And we had smoked, and then I wasn't feeling well. I started getting this pins and needly feeling that like started in my extremities. And he started recording it and just making fun of me. And then that went on for a few minutes. The whole video is like 5 minutes long, but most of it was that part where I'm just, this pins and needles like starting my extremities, my fingertips and my toes, and it's spreading inward till eventually like I feel it in my face and my eyeballs. It's the most terrifying feeling, besides all of a sudden not knowing where you are, like being at a red light and not knowing where you are all of a sudden. I'd say that's the most terrifying. But right behind that is the pins and needles in my eyeballs. After it spread through my whole body. Yeah, but that was happening. He's recording it. And then I started to feel a weird chill, and I remembered the last time I felt a weird chill, like I felt it on the back of my neck before anything, and then I was having this with the pins and needles, and then I felt this chill on the back of my neck, and I remembered something similar to, I was like, oh, I had something similar to this, like a bad chill, but again, this was so much more than that. So while he's recording me, making fun of me, I realized what was happening with the chill. I was like, oh, this happened to me once before, and you made fun of me, as I'm saying through my chattered teeth. Yeah, but this was so much more than that little thing I experienced years prior. It was like this on steroids times like fucking 50. So I had the pins and needles, felt that in the back of my neck, that the chill, and then that's when it like spreads to my body, and then I feel like I'm hypothermic and I'm shivering and my teeth are chattering. Well, if you saw the first video, you saw that. I'm better at controlling them now than I was when they first happened. So this was like my first big seizure. I don't know if I should count the little thing that happened to me as I was getting into bed one night, because it was just like it was like a chill but worse. But again, I felt it on the back of my neck before it started. But this was fucking the pins and needly, and then that back of my neck, but like so much worse. Like it hurt. I was so tense for like 30 seconds, a little less than 30 seconds. Yeah, it hurt so much, and I was so tense. And then it stopped. And that's when I said to my ex-husband who was filming it, I was like, yeah, this happened to me once before. Because I remember not that bad, but I guess that was the start of it, when I was trying to ask for help and he told me to shut up. But, yeah. So that first one there, after like the sleep deprivation, seemed to be what triggered it, because I hadn't been sleeping much for 3 months after the incident. So while my ex-husband's recording it and making fun of me, at one point he's like, oh, the demons are coming out. And I'm laughing. I mean, I laugh when I'm nervous. And even though, like, if I'm laughing, it doesn't mean I'm happy. It's like right now I'm laughing because it's awkward and uncomfortable, and it's not fun things to talk about. And if I don't laugh about it, if you don't laugh, you cry, right? And I don't want to fucking cry anymore today, so we're going to laugh about it. So yeah, it was the first big one. He recorded it. And I was scared. I was like, should I go to the hospital? It's like, I didn't know what you do. Like, this was fucking terrifying. He got it on video. So I went to the ER. And they like run tests, but they can't really like tell if you had a seizure. And what I was explaining was fucking weird anyway. I was like, yeah, I was shaking and felt like I was freezing to death. And not just a chill, like I actually like felt very like the coldest I've ever been ever. Shivering. And even though I wasn't cold, I was dressed warm. And in the video, I know I cracked the door, but I was dealing with the pins and needles, and that was making my face like flush and hot. And I cracked the door. And that's probably what the cold triggered the fucking shiver shakes, is what happened in the video. Yeah, so sleep deprivation, I guess, was, well, the catalyst to the shiver shakes was the incident, the straw that broke the camel's back. And the trigger, I guess, was the sleep deprivation, the stress on my body. Yeah, so I had the first one in December. I went to the ER. They're like, oh, you should follow up with a doctor. I let work know, like, I don't know, it's, like, I'm fine, like, I could talk and everything, but being that it was some kind of seizure, I found that there's many different kinds of seizures. There's ones where you just stare. Maybe that's what's happening. But work wouldn't let me come back because I drove for work. And I was a liability, so unless I had clearance from a neurologist, I couldn't come back to work. Sorry, my hair's wet and it looks gross. I just took a shower. And my tummy is rumbling. I don't know if you heard that. Fuck you, tummy. We're not eating yet. I don't feel like it. But yeah. So work wouldn't let me come back. Without a note from a neurologist. Tried getting a note from a neurologist a week before Christmas. So yeah. I was out of work till, I think, like January 7th. But again, I had a friend that worked there who had full-on grand mal seizures, and the boss knew that. But they let her work there. So again, they were trying to get rid of me. So yeah, out of work. I found out what it was. It helped that I had a video to show the neurologist to be like, hey, this is what happens. So, okay, you're fine to drive as long as you're not sleep deprived. So they wrote the letter for work and saying I can go back. Sorry, creepy van's driving by. He was shooting rocks at me when he drove by this time, and he's shooting rocks at me again when he's driving by this time. So I'm just going to keep talking to myself so I look like a fucking crazy person, and he can suck my fucking dick. Staring hard, too. Fuck you, dude. Anyway, where were we? Yeah, so work. Yeah, I got to go back to work as long as I wasn't sleep deprived. But apparently that didn't mean dick because they had me working. I was helping out on the late shift, but also picking up my normal shift, which was a 4:30 in the morning start time. That's my normal shift, but I was also helping out on the late shift. And some nights I didn't get in so late, so I'm like getting off work at like 10, and then I gotta fucking be back in at 4. I don't really get much sleep. I fucking live like 40 minutes away. And even then, I remember one night I got up at like midnight and I had such a bad headache. I just slept in the driveway. And I was off the next day, but I couldn't drive. With the bad headache I had and the lights, it was easier just to sleep in the driveway. Getting sidetracked again. Yeah, but yeah, the work let me come back with my notes saying I'm allowed to work as long as I'm not, and drive as long as I'm not sleep deprived. And work's like, okay, you can come back to work, but we're gonna fucking sleep deprive you more by making you work both shifts. But I guess I didn't want to, but they knew how like I like to help out and I'm gonna volunteer. But they should have just like kept me on one, even though I got my note. You made me get to come back. Sorry, somebody was walking. But whatever. Yeah, so I kept working, sleep deprived. They don't care. Jeremy kept, what's his fucking name again? Dickface kept waiting around for me in the driveway at random times as I'm coming and going. Yeah, so all the retaliation with work was not I wasn't doing well. After I came back in January, I didn't have any more seizures. But I was definitely stressed out and not sleeping. But it was March 4th, I had another seizure. When I was at work on break, was I on break or on account? I don't remember. So I was like, yeah, this is definitely affecting my health. And even though my work dog was sick and she was going to come home with me that month, Dickface took her to spite me. That's in the other video. And that was the icing on the shit cake. And I was icing on the shit cake between that happening and literally having another seizure. I think it was just like back to back. I don't remember exact timelines, but it was fucking close because that was the deciding factor. And I wrote my resignation letter and I said that was the icing on the shit cake. And I advise them not to hire women, or if they're going to hire women, keep Dickface away from them. Yeah, so, yeah, I retired from there. Not retired, resigned. I wish I could retire. Thinking it would get better. Like, removing myself from that would make the seizures get better, but they didn't, so. Well, it started from sleep deprivation, and I thought removing myself from the job would make it better, like, help myself. But the first neurologist I went to said that once your body figures out how to have seizures, it becomes really good at it. Mine got really good at it. So to sum it up is my parasympathetic nervous system short-circuited my brain into having seizures that make me feel like I'm hypothermic because of all the stress and trauma I've been through. And while I've been through a lot and I thought I was fine, my body said I wasn't, and it just took that one incident to be the straw that broke the camel's back. And now this is where we are. And I know how to get better. It's just hard living in a car. So, shiver shakes. And what the shiver shakes actually entail, they started few and far between. Again, December to fucking March. But then it became like more frequent. That was like every few months. Then it would be just became more frequent to now where they're like an everyday thing. And it's not fun. Like if I could just be alone by myself and not have anything to stimulate me or fucking get me excited. Don't give me any caffeine. Don't be any loud noises. I have the startle response of a fucking squirrel. With the PTSD and everything, like if anybody comes up behind me, it's fucking bad. And at work, they fucking... my last job, everybody's laughing at me. And I'm apologizing, but then like people realize that they can't approach you from behind, and people that knew that would approach me from the front. But yeah, shiver shakes, few and far between, that began just more and more frequent to where they're just an everyday thing now, 4 years in. And sleep deprivation was a trigger, but it's not. I mean, when I'm tired, I can still have them, but it's more so like I have to be tired like before bed or early in the morning when I'm feeling relaxed and ready to lay down. But no, anything that is stress to your nervous system. So if I get a cold, if I don't feel good, if I get a tattoo, I go for blood work, or I get a fucking colonoscopy. If you yell at me and make me cry, or if I just cry, anxiety, but I have that just being around people in fucking crowds or just loud noises or just too much going on. I don't want anybody talking to me. There's lots of seizure triggers. My period's now a seizure trigger. That wasn't before. Dehydration, not sleeping enough, low blood sugar, forgetting to eat, forgetting to breathe, because I'm with the hyperventilation one. Again, the pins and needly thing, I only get that with a seizure when I'm hyperventilating and like I'm not breathing, talking too much. I only get the pins and needly before the seizure when for like hyperventilating or not breathing, low blood sugar, and somebody rode by and distracted me. Low blood sugar. My brain doesn't work anymore. Low blood sugar, lack of oxygen, and overheating. That's the other one. And when you live in a car with no AC, in the summertime it sucks. Especially trying to sleep. I did have AC briefly, but apparently I have a leak. Yeah, but those are the ones I get the pins and needles before I get the seizure that makes me feel like I'm freezing to death. And again, it starts like a chill on the back of my neck, and then it just spreads. Sounds like fucking Stranger Things, you know, where he gets the feeling on the back of his neck. As it progressed, I have gotten that like feeling of impending doom, but not as often. But I recognize that because I knew that was the symptom, and when mine just is usually to chill on the back of my neck and I know what's going to happen before it happens. It very rarely I get that impending doom one. It's normally just a chill on the back of my neck and I know what's going to happen. Or even now, like I'll feel like a little shivery, but not a full on shiver shake seizure. Shiver shake seizure. Say that 3 times fast. So yeah. Everything's a shiver shake. I can have caffeine, alcohol, marijuana, everything on your nervous system. I can have things I can't eat. Just that alone is stress on my body and fucking triggers seizures. What can I eat? I can have dairy, wheat, sugar, anything that like spikes my blood sugar, too much like carbs or starch. I shouldn't eat like shrimp or lobster. I was told I shouldn't eat bananas or berries. I was told certain things I should watch. I'm allergic to red meat. I can't have aspirin. Contrast eye, when they give you when you go for an MRI, not an MRI, CT, what is it, CT scan? That contrast eye they give you, yeah, I found that out the hard way. Tetanus shot, I found that out the hard way since the seizure started. No, I can't have a tetanus shot. That was 5 days. 5 days with no strength in my whole body. I couldn't lift my arms. I couldn't do anything. It was fucking terrifying. I thought I was dying, and I went to urgent care. And they're like, oh, you're not dying. Just follow up with your doctor. I mentioned this in the other video where he advised me not to get the vaccine because I couldn't handle a tetanus shot since having seizures. Again, this is already 20 minutes long, and I still there's so much more to with the seizures. So we're going to make a part 2. My face is looking better. It still looks gross. I don't know if you see that, but if you know where I've talked about the spider bites, they're looking a lot better now. All 13 of them. So that's what that is. Sorry. So let's make a part 2 where I go into more detail about the Shiver Shakes. I knew it was going to need a fucking 2-parter. Fucking knew it. It's too much. Too much to unpack. Well, anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye.